Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video will be, or I plan on being, a DIY insert. So I do have the 6-month extension pack, the budget extension pack from Mambi, and I have been loving, for the most part, the whole pack. So the monthly, the bill pay checklist, I have found a way to use it to my liking. And then the expense tracker I will be using as well. But the month at a glance I found had a lot of sections already pre-selected for you, many of which don't apply to me. So I decided to make my own, and I will be repurposing one of the unused weekly inserts from an older planner that I have. It's actually a current planner, but I didn't use like the weekly sections, only the months. So I have like a whole stack of them I can show you. So they're actually from this Choose Joy planner, and like I have all the weeks in here that I didn't use. So I plan on doing that. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna grab, I don't know how many I'll need, but I'm gonna grab a couple sheets in case I screw anything up. And this is a rough, like, draft one that I did of it, just to get the whole setup down. And it's pretty much this, just in a different setup. And it's a setup that works for me and has the categories that I need for my budgeting. So I'm going to set this aside and I'll go over with you guys how I decided to break that whole thing down. So to start off with, you'll need a vertical weekly insert, just one sheet. And I'm going to go ahead and get this. Actually, I will take out just the page that I'm redoing. I'm going to take my planner out of the way. Here we go. And first thing I'm going to do is white out the numbers at the top, the numbers and the days of the week here. I'm going to cover this section up with washi so that it's not visible as much. And I've gotten a lot of requests from you guys for more DIY and repurposing inserts. So I hope this helps. Alright, so I'm just going to grab a washi, any washi. I'm going to actually, I'm going to be using in my spread for this month, so I'm going to select something, let's see, something bright. Actually, I might just do that same one that I had previously done, this one here. Just, I like it because it's a bit wider. And I'm going to go ahead, lay this all the way across. Just like this. I'm gonna grab an old gift card And I don't want to have to repunch this hole, so I'm just going to stop it right along the same edge of the box here. And just trim that off. Same thing with this. I'm just gonna measure it up against the box and trim that. Next thing I want to do is, it's perfectly fine to keep these the lines, the dividing boxes there as is, but I want to cover them up a bit. So I got these new thin washies, and I'm gonna go ahead with I'm just gonna do that one there. It's like a red scalloped trim. I'm gonna try it and see how it looks, because it's going over black, so it's probably not gonna be that bright. Oops. I'm gonna trim it along the sides. Okay. There we go. This actually looks pretty orange when you put it on top of that black. Okay. Here we go. And that is enough for me. So just like this insert, which has the income section here, my income section is pretty much going to be along the top. My bills and expenses are going to be in the center. And then along the bottom is what I'm going to do with like the remaining money, if there is remaining money. Okay, so for example, like the debt snowball, I'm gonna, if there's any money left over after I've paid all the expenses, then I will use that money towards our debt snowball. Let's go ahead and start entering the information. The way I have it broken down is, so this section here will be, I'm just writing down May income. And then I'll have total amount, total estimate or estimated, as well as total actual. So actual I would enter at the end of the month once I know what our actual checks were. Estimated would be what I'm anticipating them to be, but you know, not completely accurate. So that estimated amount is what I'm actually working with when I'm divvying up the expenses, because I'm not for certain until the checks are actually in the bank. And then, so here I would have my hubby's income. So he has his own box. I will have my own box. And then we have his side hustle here. So his full-time, my part-time, and then his side hustle are these three boxes. So our checks He is we're both bi-weekly actually, but the side hustle is weekly. So first check for him will be 5-4. And I know that amount now, I just don't have it with me offhand. But I will put that in just a few minutes. And then 518 is his next check, so I will write that here. And then I will get a total of his there. My pay weeks this month are 511. I'll enter that, and then the next one is 525. So I'll enter that, and then I'll put my total here. And then for side hustle, he gets paid every Wednesday, so that's 5-2, 5-9, 5-16, and 5-23. And then I will get a total from those. Just like that. And then over here, I'm going to do, that's May income. This will be May expenses. Like that. And so I'll have total estimate, or estimated. And then I'll have total actual for expenses. Okay. And then I go to list my bills, and I categorize them as my fixed bills, my variable bills, so bills that tend to change from month to month. Not by much, but nevertheless they're variable. And then I like to list credit card expenses separately, or like payoffs separately. So I have these three categories in this section. And what I do for fixed, I do rent, because I know that's the same each month. I know the car payment is the same each month. Car insurance does not change. Netflix and Amazon stay the same. As well as our Apple storage. And I have a 310 shake auto ship that goes through each month for the same amount. So I would go ahead, total those up, and get my monthly total, which I know is $1858.08. I'll fill in these numbers afterwards, but just so you have an idea. Fixed is this amount. Variable, I have AT&T, so that's cell phone. The electric changes from month to month. What else? Cable and internet changes from month to month slightly. I have gas changes. Sometimes we need less, sometimes we need more. And then groceries. And I put transportation as well. So roughly these here would total out to, this is estimating about $1,040. And then our credit cards combined are these here. So Alta, Amex, Capital One. Oh, actually, sorry, that one is paid off, so that's no longer part of this list. And these are in no particular order, so they're not like highest to lowest or lowest to highest or anything. So then I have Macy's, these, and Target. Okay. And then roughly these total out to be usually, since that is off, I'll put around 1,300. Okay. So total estimated, everything here is estimated besides pretty much the fixed, but it all goes into the estimated section. So if I go ahead and total these three numbers up, so 18, if I can type here, 1858.08 plus 1040 plus 13, my total estimated amount will be 4198.08. 4198.08 a month between all the expenses here. And actually I didn't even fill this out for you guys. So I'm going to estimate the income based on what it's been recently. So those checks have been around that amount. They could also be less depending on overtime hours and all that. These have been around this amount, so this totals that. Side hustle has been, give or take, this on a weekly basis. This is on the lower conservative side, so that's what, 19, I mean, what is this? 9 and 9, so this is 1,800. So our estimated income is about $6,000. Okay. Once I know the actual amount, you know, this number will change slightly. And this number here will change slightly depending on these variable amounts. Okay. So here we will do the income that's estimated, which is 6,000. Take that away from the expenses. That's estimated, which is 4198.08, and then we end up with $1,801.92. Like that. So this corner I use to do the math. The income minus the expense gives me this number here. And then with this, I can decide to do our debt snowball payment to one of our credit cards, which next in line, the lowest would be probably this New York & Co. New York & Company, or the Target. So we'll go ahead and send a chunk of this towards that. We also have a trip in July, so we have some of this going towards our travel expenses and buying stuff that we need. And then obviously, you know, some of this would stay in savings, just in the account. So that's what I would put here. This would be savings. Savings, that snowball. And then after the money's, you know, divvied up into these accounts, then I would put whatever the balance is here. So it's essentially the same as this, just broken down differently so that it works better for us and is just easy. I think it's easier at a glance this way. I hope this actually is something you guys find useful as well. It's a nice way to use up your inserts. Only the right side of the pages is, because you know this is how a weekly spread is, only the right side has the actual 4 columns, which works for us because we have, you know, 3 incomes and the way I break it down with the fixed, variable, and credit cards. This type of spread works for me, but for some maybe the 3 columns would work better, and maybe the sidebar you can switch it up for something else. So I really like how this works for me. So what I want to do is, because I still want to keep what's on the front of these month at a glance, like this one is a jar, which I love. And then let's see what else is in these. And then the next month is on the budget review. So I do want to keep the budget review section. So I got to figure out a way to get this on here, which I may just, yeah. So I'm going to trim off the holes. Let's see how much. And I could just adhere it down to the back of the page. So that's what I shall do. I'm going to trim off the holes, run some tape runner along the back of that, and then just adhere this right along the pattern here, the stripe pattern. So I'll put it right up against that and glue that down that way. I hope this video was helpful for you guys and you got some inspiration to make your own spread. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. So thanks so much for watching, guys, and have a good day. Bye.